Yo, everybody, R60 back. Today we're going to be comparing DLSS to FSR in War Thunder Firebirds. I received some comments about how FSR compares against DLSS, and hopefully today we'll figure out which one is best for you. This may be a longer one, so let's get right into it. Get seated, grab a drink, and let's dive right into this. Let's mention the difference between DLSS and FSR, as I believe there's some common misconceptions between the two. How DLSS works: DLSS uses AI-powered algorithms to render games at a low resolution and then upscales the image to your screen's native resolution. Essentially, it relies on NVIDIA's tensor cores to analyze frames in real time and generate that high-quality image you're used to. Now, for AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or also known as FSR, FSR is a performance-boosting technology that upscales low-resolution images, just like DLSS. However, FSR takes a rendered frame at a lower resolution, applies advanced spatial upscaling techniques, and sharpens the image to make it look closer to native resolution. Unlike NVIDIA DLSS, FSR doesn't rely on AI or dedicated hardware, making it compatible with a wide range of GPUs, including older models and even some NVIDIA cards. This means if you have an older card that doesn't support DLSS by chance, FSR is likely available to you as an option. However, these techniques don't come without their common issues. For DLSS, a common issue is image softness or blurriness at lower quality settings. The AI can struggle with fine details at times, like text or complex textures, leading to artifacts or slightly unnatural looks. Also, in fast-paced scenes, DLSS sometimes introduces ghosting or smearing effects, which I will show right now. FSR, on the other hand, isn't AI-driven and can produce visible artifacts or shimmering in high-contrast areas. It can also lack detail retention, particularly in distant textures or edges, leading to grainy or less defined image in some games. Both technologies have come a very long way, but these issues can be more noticeable depending on the game, quality setting, and resolution used. I'll be sure to show some of these issues throughout the gameplay. If you haven't already, if you found this video helpful, make sure you leave a comment below, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe. It helps me get that Gaijin partnership goal that I've been working for. On with the video. In order to maintain consistency, I will be using the movie settings preset on 1440p with ray tracing high enabled. My personal hardware is an RTX 4070 Ti with a Ryzen 9 5900X. All settings and hardware will be linked below in the description in case you're curious. On the left side, you can see my benchmark software. Pay attention to the first and second. The first shows current FPS in game, and the second shows average FPS overall. The third only comes into play when a stutter happens and is calculated as a 1% low. Moving on to the comparison, I'll be doing it in this order. First, we have NVIDIA. The footage right here is DLSS Native. Then after I go through all of NVIDIA's settings, I will go through AMD's FSR. It is all timestamped below so you can skip around where needed. I'll be showcasing and giving my opinion at the end of each setting. Enjoy the footage.
Lock. Over G. Lock. Over G. Over G. Lock. Lock. Pull up. Lock. Lock. Over G. Over G. Over G.
Alrighty, so with DLSS Native, it's really nice. For my computer, it runs really good, especially on my monitor. There's very little to no blurriness at all. You only really start to notice blurriness around balance, which I will, as I said, showcase. But DLSS Native is really good. Next up, we have DLSS Quality. Alrighty, so DLSS Quality is also really good. It gives a really good performance boost while still retaining a lot of that native quality. With 1440p, when you go to DLSS Quality, it upscales from 1080p, so there's not much blurriness. It still looks really crisp and really good. But on to balance, and I will show you right now where blurriness comes into effect. So as I move my camera around, if you look at the cockpit, you see that blurriness? Hopefully YouTube picks it up well, but you can see it if you pay attention. And it gets really bad the farther down we go in the settings. Alright, so DLSS balance is pretty much as low as I'm willing to go. I can't really see anything on the next two options. It is doable, but it's pretty bad for me. It's really blurry, as you'll see in the footage coming up. As I said before, DLSS Performance gets a little too blurry for me, and I really don't need it to run on my computer. It is playable, but Ultra Performance gets even worse. I'll show you in the cockpit view. I'm telling you, it's fucking awful. Alrighty, so when I recorded this footage, it was 3 a.m. and I had looked into this cockpit view, and this is when I first realized how bad it truly was. This is awful. I rendered this in 4K for y'all, so hopefully you have the best viewing quality possible through YouTube's compression, and this is awful. This is just terrible. But it is still playable. Don't get me wrong, it is still playable for lower end cards, but if you have any computer that can run at least balanced, don't run this, please. There's Ultra Performance. I really, as I said, I can't recommend it to anybody that can run at least balanced. It's rough. It's not as bad as FSR Ultra Performance, but we'll get there. Alrighty, so FSR Native runs really good. Kind of just like DLSS, I'm noticing a little bit less FPS, but to be honest, there wasn't really any stuttering, so it didn't really matter. I did do a computer restart, so this may just be a long usage performance hit. I'm not sure, but FSR is a little bit worse than DLSS, as we'll see going forward. I do end up dying in this one very quickly. However, for the most part, FSR Quality, sorry, runs very good. So what I will say about FSR Balanced, there is a lot less blurriness compared to DLSS Balanced. It's still there and it's still noticeable, but it's not as bad. However, it gets worse from here. This is, in my opinion, where FSR takes a steep dive off a cliff and DLSS becomes better. If you can run DLSS Performance and DLSS Ultra Performance, take that over FSR. So yes, while the FPS was really good, you have to start asking yourself, when is having higher FPS not worth even being able to see the visual improvements that you're getting from ray tracing and all that? It's pretty bad. I would stay away if you can. If you have to use performance, I would sure hope that you can use DLSS, because DLSS does a lot better job handling that blurriness. It's still bad, but not as bad as what you're about to see in Ultra Performance. I could not stand FSR Ultra Performance, as you'll see in a second. I mean, just look at the background and the aircraft. It's just, I don't need to say anything. This has been a longer video, definitely one of my longest, and I really hope you guys found this helpful. After this, I'm gonna have my recommended settings, but as you can see, look at this blurriness. It was pretty bad in DLSS. This is just awful. I would stay away from this if you can. Try to keep it balanced. My recommended settings works for a lot of people, as you'll hear in a moment, so let's finish this off, or bang. As for FSR Ultra Performance, if you need it, it is playable. It's just, I don't recommend it. Alrighty, here I'm going to give my recommended settings. These are the settings that I run, and they run really good for a lot of different hardware types. I got all that information from my Discord, which will be in the description below. I had people with lower hardware and higher hardware run this, and it seems to run the best, and it runs the best for me, so I'm going to share them here today. If you have a NVIDIA card, you're going to want to use DLSS with Native. That gets rid of most of the blurring. If you pay enough attention, there's a very slight blur, but honestly, you're not going to be able to notice it compared to the rest of the settings. And then for ray tracing, you're going to want to run medium. This still gives you some of the ray tracing effects, however, it's not too intensive to where you're required to run a high or low DLSS, medium, or ultra performance, anything like that. Ray tracing medium seems to be a good median ground for most cards, so give this a try. Of course, it all comes down to your other hardware such as CPU, all that. Make sure you benchmark it yourself. Alrighty, if you made it this far, you guys are absolute champs. This video took a while to make. I hope the timestamps help, because I know not everyone's going to sit here and watch the entire video. But if you did find this video helpful, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you subscribe, or just like the video. It helps a ton, pushing me towards my Gaijin partnership goal. If you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments. I got this idea from a commenter actually to compare FSR to DLSS. In reality, he just wanted me to do a testing on FSR, but I decided why not do an ultimate comparison and put DLSS against FSR. I knew it was going to be a longer video, definitely not this long, but you know, you got to do what you got to do at times. So if you enjoy, make sure to comment your opinion down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.